guess what? Pronouns!
So, dudes, we're gonna have a fun day today. Or not. Depends on how you feel about the situation going into it already. The hit new Bethesda RPG, Starfield, added the option to pick your pronouns in the customer? Same thing. Character customization thing. Why is this upsetting? I don't know. I think it's because it means wokeism has won or something. It's not really well articulated what exactly the problem is, because it's aimed at the world changing, which, as we all know, is very easy to quantify and categorize into a tiny little box in the back of my brain called my ideology. Very easy to do. I'm just as obsessed with this stuff as you are, and I hate it. But let's suffer together. So what the heck happened? It's difficult to quantify. Basically, Starfield has this customization feature for your character select where you can pick your pronouns, right? Pretty straightforward. This is a pretty robust example of character customization. We've played RPGs for forever where we've had implicit pronouns, regardless of whether people feel that way or not, by just picking, are you a dude or you a chick? That has been around in gaming forever. But I guess what makes this different is that it makes people think about stuff they don't like. Maybe one of the implications is you could potentially pick they, them, or give people the option to pick they, them. And I don't know what that means, so that makes me mad. There's lots of implications here. Maybe one of the implications is that just the very presence of this menu item makes them think of the words trans or cis or non-binary. And those words make me mad because I don't like those words. Could be that. So that's bad. If I have my ideas about things challenged, that's bad. That makes me feel uncomfortable. That makes me feel excluded. Like I am not being included in the conversation because my worldview does not allow me to entertain this question. There is a mental block here. Input A will not go past to produce outcome B. Therefore, bad. Bad thing. Do not engage. In fact, respond to it with anger.
Just because someone looks different than you or thinks differently than you doesn't mean you should be afraid of them. It means you should be angry at them. How dare they be different? What? My way of life ain't good enough for them?
Lose myself. Think, oh my God, just think of this world. Just think of all the planets I can visit. All the immersive things that I can get involved with. All the fights. All the relationships. All the people I meet. All the places I go. I'm so excited to go there. And you know, I love nothing more than, with all of that laid out in front of me, I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us. Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
Do you want to get immersed in our world? Pronouns. Yeah, man, that sounds like an immersive world. We're talking about creating an immersive world with believable and realistic expectations about the people that we run into, and then we're getting irritated about a realistic interpretation of that. We're getting mad about running into people that aren't like us, which in a game like Starfield, especially in the sci-fi genre, that has pushed the boundaries of how we understand ourselves by asking what-if questions about what other alien species might be like, what their cultures might be like, what their politics might be like, not even necessarily coming at it from a perspective of our worldview, our way of doing things is so much better. Rather, we look at it and we interpret a number of different worldviews. We look at it and interpret a number of different ways of navigating the world, of how we navigate our lives. You're telling me that we're not going to have these conversations in a sci-fi space? You guys are living in a fantasy world. This is not an aware worldview. This is not a cognizant way of approaching life. Star Trek starts with space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Doesn't that excite you? Isn't that an exciting thing to think about? What if we went out into space and we saw all of these strange new phenomenons we had never considered before? Does that make you angry? Does that make you uncomfortable? This show dropped in the 60s at the height, one of the hot points of the Cold War surrounding the Cuban Missile Crisis. Starfield is trying to contextualize a lot of different approaches to how sci-fi was done in the media, but it's pretty clear to me, at least based off of the marketing and the strategic approach here they've taken to get people interested in the game, that it's a lot more analogous to something like Star Trek in the 60s, a more hopeful idea of what space exploration is like than something like Warhammer 40K or Alien. Mass Effect being a great example. I mean, we have characters like the Turians, which are a highly militaristic race, a very top-down, hierarchical sort of race. But we didn't look at the Turians in the context of this game. If we want to make an analogy here, if we want to make a argument coming from the left, because I know that people think pronouns and they just think left. In this context in the game, the Turians aren't maligned as evil. It's just seen as different. But we frame it from a non-biased point of view because it makes for a more immersive and interesting world. It allows you, the consumer, right? It allows you, the player, to interpret it for yourself. You are immersed in pronouns. It came with your existing. You exist and you're immersed in pronouns. You're immersed in the human condition. These things are not separate. It doesn't matter how pissed off you get. It doesn't matter how angry you get. You're yelling at a brick wall. You're yelling at a brick wall. That is the human condition. That is the physiological nature of human beings. You're getting mad at people. You're getting mad at people for just existing. What are you going to do? How long is this going to go on? How long are we going to do this?
That's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
I've never gotten the vibe from Todd Howard that he's like a libtard or a blue hair. He's just a dude who's fascinated with virtual worlds. And he's done a great job of pushing the technology forward in exciting and interesting ways. Gabe Newell and Todd Howard are going to be up there in terms of the stuff that they did for the technology and the concepts about game design and game theory. Bethesda and Valve are going to be up there. We're going to look at them years from now and think of them probably in a lot of the same ways we look at like Apple or Microsoft, right? When gaming becomes a little bit more, I guess you could say it's culturally legitimate, but it's still a young technology medium compared to film or movies or TV.
We can't see past our own fucking reflection! That's the level of our narcissism here!
I agree.
Bethesda Western Game Company!
Does bro think that we don't have conversations about gender ambiguity in other parts of the world besides California? Does he think that other parts of the world don't confront these realities as well? Or is that just not relevant? Like, it's so closed off. It's so mentally closed. It's a wall. It's literally like the wall's an Attack on Titan in your brain. And there is a refusal to leave. There is a refusal to leave the walls, to go outside, to explore what is possible in the realm of consciousness and the way that you look at things. These people won't allow themselves to. This guy's mad. He has pain in his voice. He's pained. These people are having their worldview challenged, and they realize that there is an expiration date because it is crossing political lines. Because it has more to do with people. It has more to do with humans than it does purely political labels, right? What came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, the worldview or the politics? What came first, the human or the political system? I'm willing to bet the human came first. And this is what we're getting at. This is what we're seeing. Believe it or not, it keeps going. I'll play the rest of it, and then I'll comment on some of the responses.
And you wonder why people are getting so fucking sick and tired. You take everything we love, all our immersions, all our fantasies, all our escapism, and you just can't help shovel your dog shit, fucking crap ideology into everything, every single solitary fucking thing.
So that is the face of a man who believes he is being attacked by the world. The world is out to get him. The world, everything around him is changing and collapsing. And we know that that's not, in a lot of cases, right? 99 out of 100 times, unless there's a meteorite heading for planet Earth, that's probably not a rational way to approach a problem. Usually problems are a lot more complicated than that. Even if you think the world is ending, there's probably a better way to talk about it. Carl Sagan had a congressional testimony that he gave regarding climate change. In this case, he was talking about greenhouse gases and the effect in terms of what we had observed, right? We had scientific understanding of this sort of thing coming from what we already looked at in the universe around us, because we looked at Venus. That was a real example. People talk about, oh, well, we're wasting money on space travel, on space exploration. We don't know a lot about what is out there. The untapped potential of scientific explanation is impossible to measure. And so now we have an example. Now we have a case study to look at when we're referencing the greenhouse effect. And this is what Carl Sagan's talking about.
As I understand my function, it is to give some sense of what the greenhouse effect is, to try to say something about greenhouse effect on other planets, to again underscore that this is a real phenomenon, and then perhaps I can take the liberty to say a few remarks about what to do about it. The power of human beings to affect and control and change the environment is growing as our technology grows. And at present time, we clearly have reached the stage where we are capable, both intentionally and inadvertently, to make significant changes in the global climate and in the global ecosystem. And we've probably been doing, on a smaller scale, things like that for a very long period of time. For example, slash and burn agriculture, which has been with us for tens of thousands of years, probably.
Maybe this guy should have gotten on the top of the desk and yelled and screamed. Depending on who you are, you might say that. But he didn't do that. He knew more than everybody else in this room about this particular topic, and he still took the time to sit down and go, okay, let's break it down. Let's talk about why it's happening. Let's not prescribe motive. Let's try to find a solution to this observable phenomenon that I have citations and proof of observing. We have a problem. Let's try to fix it. And this is something that affects everybody, right? That affects the planet. And we lost so much with guys like Carl Sagan passing. So much. Because we, now more than ever, we need that level-headedness. We need that, listen, look, here's how this is. I'm not here to talk morality or motive or blame anyone. I'm just here to try to fix the problem. There's not a one-size-fits-all solution to any humanistic challenge. It requires a lot of different moving parts to be managed and looked at carefully, with lots of different opinions being leveled. There's no one-size-fits-all to solve all of our problems. It requires everybody to focus up and pay attention and give a crap. But that's not what we have to do if I immerse myself in all of this stuff, all of this escapist stuff. And we start to see this happen a lot with particularly, I'm going to say hard right people who have made every single video game, movie, TV show, piece of music. People on the left do it too. I'm not leaving them out of this conversation. Everybody does it. But what we're looking at from a clearly very hard right conservative angle here, when you put on Marxist colored glasses, everything is going to look like cultural Marxism. When you put on fascist colored glasses, everything is going to look like fascism. Neither of these approaches are correct or reasonable or helpful, but you can do this if you stick your head so far up your own ass that you are incapable of receiving pushback, you're incapable of receiving criticism, and you are incapable of contextualizing the things that you observe, the movies that you watch, the video games that you play, the music that you listen to. If you can't take a step back and really think about how intended the motive was behind the creation of art, behind the creation of something, and you can't be willing to say, okay, there were probably a lot of different things going on here. There's right and wrong conclusions to draw a lot of the time. I'm not saying that is not the case, but you're starting to figure out what I'm trying to say. Life is more complicated than that. My father was an ardent patriot his entire life. And he listened to all kinds of different music. He listened to a lot of old school country written by guys that were definitely pretty conservative. He also listened to a lot of hippie music by people I'm sure were considerably left leaning. Everything is left or right or blue or red or black or white. It's exhausting. This stuff is getting exhausting. How much longer? How much longer are we going to do this? Every time we have a logical and reasonable approach to something that might be associated with some conversations that make us uncomfortable, we double, we triple, we quadruple down and rage against the dying of what? Our ignorance? What a silly thing to get upset about. What's going on? And we're going to teach a bunch of kids that that's appropriate. We're going to tell kids and we're going to tell young people that it's okay to scream at the void forever until the day you die, to just scream at everything. The world is out to get you. There's no fixing it. What the hell? We are not going a place that's particularly great. We have to have some kind of rational way to approach these conversations. We can't go through life throughout the rest of our lives, every single movie, every single video game, every single viral song that drops it becomes a cultural and political battleground. Everything is a battleground now. This is nuts. This isn't healthy. People don't want to engage in these conversations. What happened to just chit chat? We can't chit chat about politics anymore. If there are pronouns in a video game, it's a communist revolution in the works. If we make a video game where some military stuff looks cool, like some fighter jets, then that's propaganda and it's fascist agitprop. What the fuck are we doing? We don't care about the facts anymore. We don't care about trying to tell the truth. We go off of vibes. Everything is vibes. Whatever I feel, and that is the extent of it. We don't know how to channel the feeling into something that makes sense. We don't know how to channel the feeling, the passion for something to try to make something better. We just focus on the feeling, and then that is the only thing that we fixate on. And that's the ultimate hypocrisy of the people that are supporting this guy, who are trying to keep throwing out this term, this facts over feelings sort of nonsense. That's a cope. That's not based in reality. People have different gender identities. That is a fact. Not everything is up for freaking debate, dude. If 2 + 2 was really 4, debate me about it. No. Well, if you can't provide an explanation, okay, I can provide a semblance of an explanation. Here you go. Well, that's not good enough. Who said? You? The earth is flat, okay? Well, as far back as, thousands of years ago, people saw ships go over the curvature, right, of the horizon. And the ship would disappear into the distance, giving the implication that no. Now, that doesn't pass my academic rigor, so therefore it is incorrect. That doesn't matter, man. You have to provide a counterpoint. You have to prove me wrong. I gave you an example. I gave you proof. Here is the example. Can you falsify the claim? No. Okay, then I'm right. No. What? This is what it's like talking about gender identity stuff. Yeah, I get it. It's confusing. Yeah, I get it. There's lots of moving parts to it that are difficult to understand if you haven't confronted it. But it's there. You just got to look it up. Something being confusing is not an excuse for it to not exist. Electricity is confusing. I hire somebody to do my electrical stuff because I don't know how to do that shit. That doesn't mean it's not real. You with your head so far up your own ass, you not understanding something doesn't make it go away. It will always be there. And it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse as more and more people have an innate understanding of this sort of thing, not because it was pushed in academia any more than electricity or the invention of the internal combustion engine was pushed in academia. Humans find solutions to problems. We categorize things. We approach the world in a very analytical, problem-solving sort of point of view. That's sci-fi, baby. That's what it's all about. That's what the story is about. You're taking away the beauty and the childlike wonder of exploration and possibilities and how we can catalog the world and how we can solve problems here. And we're just fixated on this horse shit. It's got to stop someday. I hope it does. Or we're just, I guess we'll just never figure out a lot of these issues that we got to figure out. As Existentialism Hour with the GGE. Let me know what you guys think. If you want me to commentate on this sort of stuff, other people get to do it. Why shouldn't I get to do it? Just because I have a Rainbow Six Siege channel doesn't mean I can't comment on things that I give a crap about. Doesn't mean I got to talk about operator tier list all the time. Sometimes I just want to get some stuff off of my chest. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know why I'm a horrible person for making this video in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. And take it easy out there. Play a freaking video game, okay? Try not to get immersed in the toxic muck and the mire and just stew in it. If it's not fun, why bother? Right? I'll see you guys later. Deuces.